Patrick Mullins joins us on the back of a thrilling few days over the Christmas period. Some highs, some lows, as there always is this time of year, Patrick. But the 4-year-old Copec de Board, he was among your horses to follow way back. I think it was October time you gave us this name. You got to ride him in the 2-mile maiden at Leopardstown on December 26th. The same maiden won by Classical Dream, some other really smart ones down the years. What sort of feel did this horse give you? And does he jump well enough to sort of remain over 2 miles as the season goes on?
Yeah, look, I was delighted to get on him. Obviously, Paul was overriding, lost him out on Banbridge. So I got a couple of nice spares in Leopardstown on Stephen's Day, which is a great crowd and a great day, great atmosphere. Yeah, Copec, like he's schooled fantastic at home. So it's not the case that we were going there thinking he's going to be a dodgy jumper. I know the Gigginson horse jumped across us a little at the first hurdle. And I don't know why, I didn't feel to me like he lost his confidence. It felt like he might have tweaked something because it was like he couldn't bend himself properly. Like every time the hurdles were like speed bumps, you know, we were landing with no momentum. I'd be very interested to see the statistics and the speed through the hurdles and all that. But we kept having to land and then get going. So that's energy and diesel used every time. I mean, I was going down the back straight. I said, this horse can't win. And I said, it's going to be a bad start to Christmas. And when I gave him a bop turning in, then he's picked up, and I decided I wanted to get to the front. If I was traveling very well, I would have probably taken the lead down over the last, or maybe jumped the last of size. But I said, I'm going to miss this, so I need to be ahead at the last and have that up my sleeve. And he jumped the last a little better, but I thought his performance just had to be marked up so much considering how poorly he jumped. And for me, that's not a worry going forward. We know he can jump better. Something happened on the day. So I wouldn't be putting him up in trip just yet.
So factoring all that in to win that maiden, we know how competitive it can be. You know, did it feel like a good race? And you think he's going to be sort of among the leading crop of your sort of novice hurdlers?
Definitely. Look, I think we probably got away a little bit. I think the ground was pretty good in Leopardstown. I think Jane Headley did a fantastic job. It was very safe, but it was obviously quicker ground than what would normally have there. And I think, you know, while we tipped along early, we got a bit of a break on the rest of the field. So Cowabunga, I thought, ran a really eye-catching race. But I think we probably got away. But I still think for how our fella jumped, it was as good a performance as I've seen ability-wise from a novice this year.
Okay, you won the bumper. You won the bumper on Green Splender on the debut for the yard. Really, he looks a very nice type, possibly a stayer in the making. Or did I miss sort of 1 or 2 changes of gear in that thick fog?
Yeah, no, we could see enough. Yeah, but it was tricky for you guys watching us. No, look, at home he's a horse. He doesn't show an awful lot. And I'd said this to Anthony Bromley, and he said, well, when he ran in the sales bumper, he was their 3rd string. So he's obviously a horse that doesn't show an awful lot at home. And, you know, I think he probably he went racing Regent Stroll and ended up losing 2nd in that race. So that was high class form. He settled really well. I was very happy turning in that I'd get to the front of falling out. And once he's got to the front, he's only doing enough. I think he's better than the bare form. You know, he would have to improve to make himself into a Cheltenham horse, but I just like his attitude. I like the way he does things, and I think there's more to come from him.
Yeah, and tell us about Gaelic Warriors spin around Leopardstown as well, because we could barely see that either.
Yeah, well, look, we were going there knowing that we were a bit short of work. Look, we'd let everyone know we'd missed a bit of time. Obviously, his last 2 spins in Leopardstown hadn't been. He'd won the handicap hurdle, but he didn't bolt in off 140, and he'd obviously blew out there last year. So we had the hood on this time. We wanted to get him settled, get him jumping, and then see how we got on after that. So he settled great. He jumped fantastic. Solace has obviously gone a real strong gallop in front. He's hard fit. My lad, he's come out of my hands at the 4th last. And between there and the 3rd last, when you look to just be creeping a little bit closer, he's just taken a blow. I've had to sit on him. We've jumped well at the 3rd last and 2nd last. And I was always happy I was going to get to Marine Nationale and Dyna Blue from turning in. But Solness just kept galloping. Look, again, I think he probably got away a little bit in the field, but he was hard fit. He was a 28-to-1 shot. You know, if you're riding a fancy horse and you go chasing a 20-to-1 shot and then you fall in the hole at the end, you look a bit silly. So I thought from Gaelic Warriors' point of view, it was a great run. I think he will improve an awful lot from it. I think Leopardstown, good ground. Neither of them see him at his best. So I think that was the worst you'll see him this year.
We all remember that Brilliant performance in the Arkle at Cheltenham with that horse. Now, I suppose when you look at the bigger picture in terms of the 2 mile chasers, you obviously Energumen came back and did what he did. Could the intermediate distances come sort of onto the radar for a horse like Gaelic Warrior, do you think?
Yeah, well, look, he's won over 3 miles. He's won over 2.5 miles. He's very versatile. For me, as a 2 miler, he needs probably soft ground to be at his best.
Yeah.
You often see the champion chase turns into a very much a stamina race. There's only 3 of them left in down the hill, and there's only 2 of them there at the second last. So Leopardstown was very much. I don't think Leopardstown is going to be what Cheltenham, the champion chase, is going to be. But I do think if the ground come up good in Cheltenham, that will be a concern for the champion chase. But I still think, John Bond likes to go forward. He likes to make it a stamina 2 miles. That suits us. But I do think he's at his best with a bit of juice in the ground over 2 miles.
Yeah, a couple of the other sort of stable stars suffered defeats as well, starting with the 2 at Kempton, Lossiemouth and Ballyburn. Now, first and foremost, fair play to Willie for sending them over this Christmas, as both horses were on kind of fact-finding missions to some extent, weren't they?
Yeah, look, it was a big step up for Lossiemouth. The Constitution Hill is one of the best we've ever seen. And I don't think either of them ran to their best. I mean, look, Lossiemouth, she's not that slow. She should be able to lie up with Burdett Road and Lump Sum. So while they went a fast gallop and it was, a quick race, she shouldn't have been as lethargic as she was. And perhaps, Paul came in and just said she felt flat. So perhaps she wasn't at her best. I don't think that Constitution Hill was at his best either. I mean, if Burdett Road hadn't bulldozed the last, he'd have been bang on Lossiemouth's tail. So I think both of them can run better. And perhaps I'm being hard on Burdett Road there. Maybe he is up to that standard. But she seems fine afterwards. But I don't think that was her at her best. So we're 3 lengths behind Constitution Hill. He's going to improve. We think we can improve. It's still going to be exciting.
All to play for still, isn't there? Especially on the back of what happened on Sunday. Statman clearly not himself when well beaten by Brighter Days Ahead. But just briefly, how do you reflect on that race?
Well, look, first and foremost, the mare was awesome. It was an extraordinary performance. It was like watching Faugheen or Apple's Jade in their pomp. But look, Mystical Power didn't show up and Statman didn't show up. Winter Fog, who's a 10-year-old and a very good 10-year-old, he's some high-class form and he's very, very consistent, but he shouldn't be beating Statman. It wasn't a case that they got away. For me, Paul could never lie up. And from turning down the back straight, you're thinking, we're not going, because Paul wouldn't be giving them that much rope. So from very early on, he wasn't himself. And to me, you just draw a line through it.
Has anything come to light, Patrick?
He seems fine this morning. So not at the moment. I think a few of ours did underperform through the Christmas. A few of them ran below par, like obviously he did. Even the likes of Lot of Joy was very disappointing. Argento Boy was very disappointing as well. So for me, you just draw a line through it. I don't think we learned anything other than Brighter Day Ahead is once again better than I was giving her credit for. But I'd still like another go at her with Statman in February.
And you can't be too disappointed with Ballyburn. Just looping back to Kempton, obviously, again, he's met a formidable opponent and a very fast horse in Sergino. Yeah,
look, it's no major surprise that, his pedigree is off 3 miles. He's a Flemingford. He's never shown an electric turn of gear. It's a case of he builds up ahead of steam. And Sergino just jumped better than him, full stop. He took him out of his comfort zone. We were giving him £6, but Sergino is a faster horse. I think our fellow the mistake of the last wasn't ideal, but I think he would have learnt a lot. His jumping would have sharpened up a lot there. So where Willie goes now with him, I don't know. But we've learnt a lot more. I think that race might make a man of him. And we won't be giving up hope with him just yet.
Yeah, not disgrace really. If that Sergino is an absolute fly machine over 2 miles, I think if Ballyburn's going to be a 3 miler, then he's obviously run a perfectly respectable race in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing, of course. Now let's focus on just a couple of the Grade 1 winners there. Obviously, Impaire Passe, he was really good. Great to see him obviously win under Daryl Jacob. It sounds like he might be staying now, possibly staying at home from the DRF, maybe into something like Fairy House, the Easter meeting.
Yeah, well, look, we'll see. First, it was fantastic for Daryl. What a career, extraordinary. 1,000 winners, Grand National, I think 31 Grade 1s. He's been very lucky for us. He's had big wins on Blue Lore, the DRF, reading Tommy Wrong and Nate's in the Lauders, and now Impaire Passe in the Faugheen. So I mean, 25 years riding, it's an incredible career, something he'd be very proud of. And I think any jockey would give the right arm for a career like that. So brilliant to give him a good send-off. But I thought he gave the horse a fantastic ride. He got him settled down the middle. He's obviously a very relaxed horse down the rail. He was in the same position Danny was in last year. Christmas decided to come the outside, which I think was probably a good call. And the horse quickened up. Look, was it a fantastic race? No. The second horse rated 137, 138. But he shows that he can jump very well. He put in a fantastic leap at the last. You know, whether he stays at home, whether he goes to Cheltenham, might be a bit early. I wouldn't be nailing my colours to any mass there just yet. He has won in Cheltenham before, and the way he relaxes, I wouldn't be afraid to try 3 miles with him. But yeah, that was a really good performance from him.
And the great Galopin de Champ, I think we can call him that now, can't we?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, what more does he have to do? I mean, he was extraordinary. It was fantastic. I went out to the stand to watch the race with a couple of my friends, and you know, the buzz, like fence to fence. And I was watching thinking, oh, are we going a bit slow? For me, I would have said Back to File is a faster horse. And I was thinking, are we going a bit slow? And he was jumping fine without taking lengths out of the field. But he just seems to be a faster horse at Leopardstown. I mean, from the back of the last, when the jump he put in the last was extraordinary. You know, the energy he must have used in that should have flattened him after the jump, really. But instead, he's just taken off. And if the race was another 100 yards, he'd have won 10 lengths. Now, look, Gentleman's Game is in third. I always, you know, look at the full form, and you know, and I think that's probably what he beat him, roughly what he beat him in Punchestown last year and all that. I still think the performance he put in last year in the Sables was a better performance. But Fact to File is a fantastic horse and adds, you know, it's just an extra horse that he's conquered. I think he has to be up there with the greats, definitely.
Yeah, a frightening prospect, certainly, for anything looking to take him on as he bids for another Gold Cup at Cheltenham in March via the Irish Gold Cup, of course. And finally, Patrick, just from you, is there one horse who did suffer defeat over the festive period who you'd be fairly confident of sort of bouncing straight back next time out? One to keep the faith with, as it were.
Oh, well, look, like I said, I think Gaelic Warrior will be a different animal next time. I think Redemption Day, I think we put the hood back on him. I think he needed the race more than a lot of hours as well. He'll improve significantly. And Cowabunga, like I said, I thought I thought that was a fantastic run from him. So there's 3 for 1.
Fantastic stuff. Super. We'll catch up with you very shortly ahead of the New Year's Day action as well. Thanks again, Patrick.
Great. Thanks, Matt.